Greetings, Reggie.
Morning. Greetings.
To see you again. We're just playing a little bit of music here. Phoenix River Band, and we'll kick off at 1 o'clock in 30 seconds. Now, lovely piece of music to bring us on into today's chat. Welcome to the Sustac Plans Chat Club, where we discuss AI innovations and ethics in marketing business. And I'm pleased to say I've got Reggie Johnson with me all the way from Texas. Reggie,
Hello.
how are you?
Doing well. How about you, Paul?
Yeah, well, a little bit sad. Republic of Ireland crashed out of the World Cup last night.
On penalties, too. On
Yeah,
penalties.
yeah. The agony of it, the agony of it. So there's a whole generation of Irish people that have never known what it's like to be in a World Cup or a European Championships for that matter. And we were 2-0 up, and 2-1 up with minutes to go, and we gave away stupid.
And even went up in the penalty shootout.
Yeah, we missed 2 penalties. They missed one, and bang, it's all over. We're not going to the World Cup. Yeah, brutal. But apart from that, sure, we'll rise again. And no one's dead, as the fella says. We'll rise again. Now, that bit of music that we played there was the Phoenix River Band, and the track was called Vienna. And the reason why I played it is, firstly, it's a beautiful track. It actually sounds like Dire Straits and Chris Rea mixed together. Original music, original song, and guitarist there is a fellow by the name of Robert Craven, who runs the GYDA, Grow Your Own Digital Agency, and he's the guitarist on it. But he interviewed me recently, and I just posted his interview of me on LinkedIn yesterday, I think it was. And so for those people who are familiar with Sustac, they might find that interesting, because we just talked for about 30 minutes about Sustac and how it works and where it came from and where it's going and that sort of thing. So we'll make a mention of that again. But the band is the Phoenix River Band. I really like them. They're out in Bristol, very cool band, and that's the track Vienna. So we are going to talk. I'm PR Smith, the founder and author of Sustac Planning. Reggie is from Fort Worth, Texas, USA, Director of Communications for Student Affairs at UNT Health. It's 1 o'clock, just after it, so it's now time to get into our weekly AI chat. Now, this week, we're going to be talking about some interesting stuff. The lawsuit updates, which we've been talking about 4 or 5 weeks. In fact, we've been really pushing and promoting the idea of this for about 5 years, Reggie. So they've gone to court, and we've got some results, so we'll get the update there. We will look at some highly irresponsible AI behavior. Does AI equal the end of the world? Sam Altman. It's from a few years ago, but I'm just bringing it up again, what he's been saying, how irresponsible. So we're looking at irresponsibility of social media companies with their lawsuit updates, Reggie. I'll then talk about how irresponsible Sam Altman has been when talking about AI equals the end of the world. We'll move on to the dangers of deploying dangerous bots themselves. Is this a criminal offense? Now, this is in my opinion, of course, it is, and we look at that. And then we look at from the kids' point of view, how kids see irresponsible social media. I've got a nice little video of the week to share with you on that. And then something about influencer marketing, overhyping AI, and we'll come back to that. Then the positive section, we're going to look at becoming more AI findable. Everybody's trying to figure this out. As marketers are trying to figure out, how do we become more AI findable? And in that, I found a lovely LinkedIn solution, which you're going to love. Everybody's going to love this one, because we're all on LinkedIn. Here we are now, and it's easy stuff, and LinkedIn lends itself to it. So I've got some really good news and positive stuff about how to make yourself more findable by AI. We move after that. I'm going to mention teens fashion innovation stopping assaults. If time allowing, we'll do that. But more importantly, Reggie, I tasked you last week. You've been to some conferences recently, and I said, could you summarize it into 2 minutes, 5 or 10 bullet points of what are the key things they're saying, so that we'd save all our audience having to sit through a whole conference, and they could just get some information kicking in. So I'm going to ask you to summarize that. And then we've got a beauty which is, I'm going to mention that podcast that I did with our friends. I'll mention that at the very end, and then finish with a piece about asking interesting questions. Now, we've always said the importance of asking great questions determines your future in your career. I honestly believe this, and it determines the success of your life overall, the ability to ask great questions. Well, we found a beauty from an American, no less. He's a very interesting, Bernie Saunders, and he came up with a really interesting question that he asked his Chat GPT. And it was the simplicity of it. So I'm going to ask you, Reggie, to tell us a little bit about the beauty of that question, which then equipped him with some really good material. So that's what we're going to do. I need to mention to you also that next Friday, Easter Friday, Good Friday, we will not be having our chat. So we'll take a week's break and we'll be back the 10th of April. And by the way, Jerry McGovern interview is on the 1st of May. That's moved to the 1st of May, but that's one worth watching out for as well. Okay, let's kick off, Reggie. Let's get down to the meat of all of this stuff and the lawsuits updates. Tell us what's been happening there, Reggie.
2 lawsuits recently came back with judgment against social media, holding them accountable. And this is something we've been talking about for 5 years. I remember we were talking about accountability for the algorithms, transparency, need for that, and accountability. But New Mexico jury awarded like $375 million for Meta intentionally addicting kids, and the same jury in Los Angeles ruled in favor of a woman who had lost her child and due to I believe it was a suicide, social media induced, and this was against YouTube and Instagram. And they also ruled in favor. The money amounts aren't as important because this is child's play to the big corporations that run these things. Really, what's important is this establishment of precedent that social media companies are accountable, having been found to intentionally addict kids, intentionally producing a product that they know is harmful for them. And we remember they talk about, I think Nikki Petrosi talks about this as their big tobacco moment, because you remember when big tobacco companies were found to intentionally be marketing towards kids with their addictive product. And so it's a potential change. Also, even Jonathan Haidt, the author of Anxious Generation, posted yesterday that a judge had agreed the insurance companies wouldn't have to pay the fines because when you're a big business, you've got insurance to help cover these fines. It's just the cost of doing business. You know, you're going to get, lawsuits against you. And so, but the insurance companies don't have to pay it because these were intentional acts by the companies, which was proven in court, intentional acts by the companies. So insurance isn't responsible to pay it. So they might have to pay it out of their own pockets. Whether this will translate to true accountability and change and be a watershed moment for transparency and accountability, or whether this will just be another footnote slap on the wrist for the social media giants on their long sordid history, only time will tell. But we're excited to see some semblance of accountability.
Yeah, as you say, we've been banging on about this for about 5 years, saying the immorality of it. It goes back to Social Dilemma, that wonderful film that came out years ago, which kind of opened up some of these issues. And then by the way, I just saw Molly and versus the Machine. I think it's a BBC production. Have you come across this, Reggie? Molly versus the Machine.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Worth a view if you can find it on one of your streamers. It explores a lot of what we're talking about. But the great news is it's a first step. The court has found them to be negligent. Now, they will appeal, as you say, and this could go on forever and more, and how big is your pocket? But it's seen as, by Nikki Petrosi and others, they're rejoicing that they've got a result. It's step one. Now, there's a lot more work to be done, but I mean, for a court to come out and say they are negligent, they knew it was damaging children's health, they knew, and they kept going, it's on record now, so as official. So this is great news. I'm very pleased to hear it. Now, which brings me to something that I came across, but it's more than 10 years old, but it's just total and utter irresponsibility by Sam Altman. It's disgusting, this. Now, this is June 2015. Sam Altman told a tech conference, wait for it, I think that AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world. But in the meantime, there'll be great companies created with serious machine learning. You know, the audacity of this man. This is the kind of people we're dealing with. These are the kind of corporations we're dealing with. He could just casually say that. Now, if anybody thinks this is fake news, it's not. It's source, Stanford University Institute for Economic Policy and Research. Dave Gilson wrote the piece, May 31st, 2024. We'll put all the links into prsmith.org/blog, but it's there. And in the next breath, Altman then says, and by the way, then he was only president of the startup accelerator Y Combinator. I think that's a Peter Thiel company, I think. But he didn't appear to be joking. And in the next breath, he announced that he just funded a new venture focused on AI safety research, and the company's called OpenAI, now best known as the creator of ChatGPT. And what a lie that turned out to be, AI safety research. He's abandoned the whole safety research stuff.
Very early on, he axed his whole safety team.
Yeah. So this is what we're dealing with. And now it seems with the court cases that you've been talking about, Reggie, it's being seen for what it is. And these are greedy, dangerous people. And which brings us to the next question, are they criminals? Well, perhaps it's not our place to say whether they are or not, but I'm just going to throw something else out here. I stumbled across this. It's from a British MP, a British member of Parliament. And so she says, last night I was at the UK House of Lords for a roundtable on AI chatbots and violence against women and girls, chaired by Baroness Boycott. Now, one proposal especially stood out to me, but this is reported by Tara Steele. And she says, one proposal especially stood out to me, and that's a new criminal offense for the dangerous deployment of an AI chatbot. So this is where we should be, and with evidence coming through now from the other court cases. So as set out by Professor Stuart MacDonald, this would target a company or person that deploys an AI chatbot that is dangerous. So having failed to take all reasonable steps to prevent harm, such as generating content that risks causing or contributing to serious physical harm to other users. So I think this is in the right direction personally. So well done to Tara Steele for sitting in and reporting that. It's a very valuable alert. Thank you, Tara. And I believe personally, yes, we desperately do need to establish a new criminal offense for the dangerous deployment of an AI chatbot. I 100% agree with this. And immediately, without delay, how can anybody lobby against this? This is where the outrage kicks in. How can a lawyer stand up and say, no, this shouldn't be? If it's something that's damaging people, let's get them in the court and let's sort them out. So
let me throw something in there, Paul. Robin jumped into the conversation, our good friend Robin Davis. He said, exactly, drug companies, alcohol companies, and many others have culpability for addiction. So I think this is a great step forward. Social media companies should be hammered and hammered hard. We do think about these other addictive products and our view about them, about drugs and the opioid addiction, the opioid epidemic, and alcohol. Our view on them and cigarettes is very different than the addictive social media. For a lot of people, they view it very differently.
Yes, thanks, Robin. Yeah, indeed. So I was thinking about this actually just before we went live today. With the court cases that you've been talking about, Reggie, I can see, they call it the tobacco moment. Just like cigarettes have got warnings, and more than warnings, they've got gross pictures of cancers, growth, and it's horrible stuff. Really gross. But cigarette smokers have a choice. They can either look at it, absorb that information and continue smoking uncomfortably, or they can pick up the pack but not allow themselves to look at that really and continue the behavior without any tension or dissonance. I was thinking today that if AI has a warning on it, and social media has a warning on it, this can lead to depression, this can lead to that would be very interesting if that comes out. But we'll wait and see. And thanks, Robin, for that. So moving on, the video of the week, which we'll share. Again, we put all the links onto prsmith.org/blog. How kids see irresponsible social media. Now, this is a wonderful ad, and it was picked up by Ranjana Sharma. So thank you, Ranjana, for flagging this video up. It's kids saying this. So kids are saying, in the future, people will rent music rather than buy it. and then it can be taken away after a while. And in the future, these are kids now. These are kids from a few years back talking about the future, and they're saying, and in the future, do you know what? They'll photograph food before you eat it. Ugh. And they'll send it to people they don't know. And they're going, what? And then another kid says, yeah, they'll also photograph us kids and send it to other people that we don't know as well. They go, what? And it continues on for a minute of just shocking stuff. The kids go, no, they wouldn't do that. Could they do that? No, they wouldn't. Our parents are nice people. They wouldn't do this kind of stuff. Oh, yes, they would. And so there it is. So we posted that link to that video. It's a beautiful piece of work.
Great video. And I love at the end where he says, at least we'll still stay out, out playing until the lights go out, right?
Yeah.
Right? And they don't, there's no answer because that's the problem. Everybody's inside nowadays. Nobody's playing outside. They're all on their devices. So
there's no answer. And that's so true. And Reggie, I have to tell you this, in Dublin, where I was born, it stays light a little bit longer. We're a little bit more north than London. And I can remember as a child playing football, and literally you went home when the sun went down, and you could play in the middle of the summer on a bright night without clouds. You could play till 11 or almost 12 o'clock, almost midnight, kicking a football on the street. How wonderful was that? So there's that kid expressing that, can we stay out till it gets dark, sort of thing. How wonderful is that? Yeah, so we'll post that video. It's an absolute peach. I hope you all enjoy it. Moving on, we're almost done with the negative stuff, and then I'm going to get much more positive. Reggie, tech giants and influencer marketing. What's going on there?
Yeah, so the tech giants are noticing that there's a certain surge of cynicism and skepticism towards AI. This is Jake Angelo from Fortune.com writing about this, and what evidently this was in February. They're ready to invest a hefty penny for AI evangelists, up to $4,000 salary for someone to be a storyteller, an AI evangelist storyteller.
Hang on, Reggie. How many dollars?
$400,000 a year.
400,000. I thought you said 4,000.
400,000.
Right. Okay.
$400,000 a year salary for AI evangelists, up to that. Whereas the average salary for a communication director is about 100,000, 107,000 in America. They're looking to pay 4 times that for AI evangelists, great storytellers, to help shift the narrative. Because as you know, people are starting to become a little bit more skeptical. I think 50% of people now think it's more likely that AI will do more harm than good, or they're more pessimistic about the outcomes of AI, than are positive about it. The sentiment is shifting. More people are aware of the problems of AI, the work slop, the issues it creates, the job loss. And so the tech companies are putting forth a lot of money to help, and money into influencers, into astroturfing, or I guess it's not astroturfing if you use influencers with disclosed payments, but I'm sure there will be astroturfing involved where you have paid people to appear organic. But they're using every means to shift the narrative in their favor, and they're prepared to pay a lot of money for it because there's a lot at stake for them. Because when people believe their hype, it literally prints money for them because investors put money into the company. If they can convince people that AI is going to take every job, or that it's going to destroy the world, either way, the message is it's something powerful that you want to be a part of, and invest in it now, or buy it for your company now. No matter what the narrative is, it's that AI is powerful. And the reality shows it's not helping productivity. The outcome numbers are not great for a lot of companies, and there's a lot of problems with quality assurance and trust and brand harm that are happening on the back end after you create all these outputs.
It is irresponsible in many ways to build up this AI hype, so the investor money comes in, but then I wonder where that investor money is going to go when they see these court cases coming through. That would be quite interesting. But the other side of the coin is it can wipe out an industry. If investment gets sucked out of an industry because somebody has said AI is going to wipe that industry out, like the advertising agency world could be wiped out. Says Altman keeps banging on about that. It's the end of every advertising agency out there because AI will take it over completely, which I don't think is the case. I think it will be integrated, but it could give the worry enough for investors to just say, I'm out of here. I can't deal with this. So yeah, it's irresponsible. Again, this theme of responsibility, which we've kind of started off talking about this morning with the lawsuit updates.
with this, we have to remember it's motivated. And so when you see stuff out there saying AI is going to, take 95% of marketing jobs, you have to remember who's saying it and what do they have to benefit? What do they have to gain from saying it?
Yeah.
And you should be the same way when somebody's skeptical and says that AI is not doing anything. Also, do they have something to gain from it?
Yeah, nice one. Okay. We're done with having a go and highlighting stuff that we need to challenge. Let's get positive now. We like to finish on positive notes. And I'm going to do this one, which is how to become more findable by AI. And the good news is it's your LinkedIn will now help you define your visibility. Now, this is a piece written by Alina Jingan, and it's a powerful piece. Again, we put the link on prsmith.org/blog as we put links to everything we talk about. But this month, LinkedIn became, wait for it, the #1 most cited domain source for professional queries across AI systems. Not Google, not company blogs, not your website, LinkedIn. So in just a few months, this has changed. They've jumped, or LinkedIn has jumped from being outside the top 10 of the top source cited by ChatGPT when it's digging up stuff, and Copilot, and Gemini, and Perplexity. So let that sink in. In the last 3 months, LinkedIn has become one of the most authoritative sources shaping AI-driven discovery. So between November 25 and February 26, the platform surged from the top 20 to rank among the most cited sources on ChatGPT and the other platforms. And it's now the #1 most cited domain for professional queries across all AI search platforms. Now, this is phenomenal. So I'm not sure how many people realize this. So what's actually happening? We've crossed a shift most people aren't fully aware of just yet. People don't search anymore. We know that. They ask a question, and AI doesn't give them links to work their way through. It gives them summaries and recommendations and names and solutions. So the question is no longer, can people find you? It's does AI know who you are? So this is why LinkedIn suddenly matters a lot more, because AI systems, they need structured, credible human context. So LinkedIn is perfect for this because it's got real identities, clear roles, consistent content, network signals, professional language. Compare that, Reggie, compare all that to messy websites, anonymous blogs, outdated SEO pages. LinkedIn is actually clear training data. And so AI uses it because it's structured. It fits the headings, your career, your experiences, your education, your thoughts. What do you do? Your description. It's all done. It's all packaged up already by LinkedIn. So the uncomfortable truth is that most people are invisible to AI, not because they're not good, but because they're vague, inconsistent, hard to describe. Now, if AI can't clearly answer, who is this guy, Reggie Johnson? And what's Reggie known for? Slopaganda is one of the things you're known for, Reggie. I love that phrase of your slopaganda. I love that. But if AI can't answer that, who is this person and what are they known for, you won't be mentioned. You won't be recommended. You won't exist in that layer of discovery. So this is not about posting more stuff. That's where people get it wrong. It's not more content. It's not more engagement. It's not more hacks. This is about being legible to machines. So what actually works? If you do nothing else, fix these. I'm going to give you 5 tips now, and this is gold dust, I think. Number 1, make your headline painfully clear. Not clever, not vague, not arty-farty. A bad headline is helping companies unlock potential. No, don't do that. Good, much better one is enterprise AI strategy / go-to-market and revenue, or GTM and revenue, or / Salesforce AI and data platforms. AI needs clarity, not creativity. So check that, number 1. Make your headlines. We can hear you tapping there, Reggie. You might want to mute. Number 2, own 2 to 3 topics max, right? So it might be AI strategy, it might be women in AI, it might be enterprise sales. Don't try to own everything, and stick with those 3 and establish yourself for those 3. Number 3 is write like you want to be quoted, because you might be. And AI loves clear statements, strong opinions, and structured ideas. So number 4, then be consistent across everything. Your headline, your about section, the posts, the comments. Say the same thing in different ways. Become an expert in this space. And number 5 is turn your profile into a source. Now, by that I mean your LinkedIn is no longer a CV, it's actually training data. Ask yourself, if an AI had to describe me in one sentence, would it get it right? So go and do that and see what it does. And if not, fix it. So the bigger shift, we're seeing moving away from search to answer links to summary profiles to entities and all that. It's just who does AI mention when it answers? That's what we're after. So the final thought here is you don't need to beat the algorithm anymore. You just need to be clear enough for AI to understand. So check your LinkedIn profile, go through it all and polish it up, and describe and repeat. And because this is the AI era, and if you're not clear, you're invisible. And if you're invisible, you don't get chosen. So let me just summarize those 5 points. And again, we put a link to it on pearsmith.org/blog. It's a great article, well worth a read. But number one, make your headline painfully clear. Number two, own your 2 to 3 topics maximum. Number three, write like you want to be quoted, clear statements, strong opinions, structured ideas. Number four, be consistent across everything. And number five, turn your profile into a source. Okay, that's that. And we'll put a link to it. So I'm going to save the teenagers innovation stopping assault. I'm going to save that for next week. Maybe we'll get Wayne to cover that, because I want to get more tips, Reggie. And you've been to a conference and you're going to save everybody several hours or a day perhaps in condensing down what did you learn and what was the conference and who was it and what did you learn?
All right, so I went to a great AI webinar with Laura Houghton and Tina Dunk of Talk Strategy, based in San Antonio, and they gave a number. It was called AI for Marketers: The Real Talk. It was a great, realistic, looking at both sides. So here's some tips. They fall into two categories. First off is the fundamentals, and that's 5 tips. One is AI accelerates what you're already doing, good or bad. So remember to fix your processes first. You might find more efficiency there. Otherwise, it's just going to amplify your bad processes and inefficiencies. Number 2, clean data and clear direction are non-negotiable. So remember the garbage in, garbage out. We talk about that. Yeah. Number 3, that roles are evolving, not disappearing. So it's not necessarily taking jobs. It's incorporating AI. I think you said that earlier, integrating AI. Yeah. Number 4 is, and I think this is so important, speed is not a strategy. Speed is not a strategy. You can't just say we're going to go fast. Got to have goals, outcomes. Yeah. And number 5, protect your brand and your data. Remember, think about what you're putting into public LLMs, and is this actually safe for me to do so? So those are the 5 fundamentals. Then the other 5 are under ethics and responsibility. They are ethical considerations can't be an afterthought. I like this as the first one under ethics and responsibility. Ethical considerations can't be an afterthought.
Yeah, I think that's Reggie. That was that Sorry Bell was this is her space.
Yes, that's what that's part of what she talks about as well, is ethics can't be an afterthought. I think there's a lot of overlap here. Yeah. Number 2 is verify everything, just everything, verify it. And that might bring up a question. Are you spending more time on quality assurance than you're saving on the front end of creation? So you've got to be aware of that. Yeah. Number 3, understand the copyright and attribution risks. AI can help you generate a copy of intellectual property without you even knowing it or intending to.
That you might be violating IP.
Yeah, exactly. You might be violating IP and not even have meant to. You didn't ask for Mickey Mouse or whatever it is, but it gave you something that's a violation. And that's bad for your business. Yeah. Number 4 is build your roadmap around your brand, not the hype cycle. Yeah. I really like that one because so many CEOs are building their brand or building their roadmap around the hype cycle, not their brand. But what does your brand need? And finally, 5 is to train your team. Your team needs upskilling. Your team needs to know how to use it. They need guidance. They need the skills to work with it, not just to be told to use AI or die. They need to be trained in how to use it well. So those are your 10 tips that you need to do before you implement AI. And I think it all comes with an idea of asking when to use AI and when not to use AI.
I like it, Reggie. I like it a lot. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we said we'd mention the Sustack interview I did with Robert Craven, who's the guitarist in excellent track of the Phoenix River Band, which we're going to play in just a couple of minutes. So did that interview with Sustack Perfect Plan with Robert Craven. So we put the link to it in the show notes that you can look at afterwards if you're particularly interested in Sustack planning. Okay, to finish with, Reggie, I'm going to jump in and just kind of do a little summary here, if I may, about we've always said the art of asking great questions is really a gift. that not enough professionals have, and it's something worth working on. And when you hear a good question, kind of go ding ding, great question, both in private life conversations or in journalistic interviews on the TV or a sports match or in business, asking great questions. So here's a great question we saw just the other day from Bernie Sanders. Now, well known in America, Bernie Sanders could have been the president of America, might be the next one. Who knows whether he'll be old or not? But he asks a question, a great question to his AI, and he says, "What kind of information about us is being collected by AI, and why?" And that was an interesting question, the "and why" bit, and then he asked another question. He said, "What would surprise American citizens re AI and privacy?" And that's a wonderful question. It's not just what would surprise or what's the trend or what are, it just cuts through beyond that to the next level of, there's loads of trends out there, but which one of those trends would really upset Americans, and then focus on that if that's the case. So I thought that was a clever question, and well done to him. We'll put a link to, it's a video clip of him discussing this for 5 minutes with AI. It's powerful stuff. Okay, it's 1:30 UK time. It's 7:30 a.m. your time, Reggie. It's time for us to all go on about the rest of our day. So I'm sorry, we got to put a halt it there. We will commence. We won't be back next week, but the week after Easter, we will be back. We're going to see this out with a lovely piece of music by the Phoenix River Band. And this is let's just get them back up. Here we go. The Phoenix River Band. Song called Vienna. As always, we'll leave a link to this track on piersmith.org/blog. Wishing you all a great weekend. Reggie, have a wonderful weekend.
You as well.